Jess, where was that lost in the end?
Yeah, look, we were way too wasteful in possession of the ball. It was disappointing actually to see that many unforced errors creep into our game. We know New Zealand have only been giving teams maybe 15 possessions, if that, to capitalise off. And I actually thought we found a lot of turnover today, in particular in that opening quarter. We were too slow to convert off enough of it in the opening part of the game, but through the game we actually stole the ball off of a quality New Zealand side with a direct route to goal with Grace, who's just getting better with every game. And so it feels, it's bittersweet that we haven't been able to capitalise off that, but worse still because, footworks and things, there's just no room for that at this level, and it's disappointing. But to get ourselves a foothold to get up at the start of that last quarter, I think psychologically was really great to see. We had to do it differently today. I still thought we started well, didn't convert enough turnover, so I never felt we were out of the game, but obviously a 6 and 7 goal lead deep in the heart of the game was tough. So I think to see us put just a bit of grit and determination to claw ourselves back in, I was impressed with that. I thought we held them up in possession well, but then they're happy in possession too. So we've got to go on the hunt a little bit higher up the court. But yeah, I think in our possession game we were too slow. Tactically, we weren't smart enough, even though we've spoken about it. I think our centre pass attack was poor at the front of the game.
So you'd spoken to them about that, but they just weren't giving that to you on court?
Yeah, of course we've spoken about it. We've played New Zealand a lot, so I think in terms of structurally we know what we need to do, but it doesn't make it any easier when you come up against a team in particular with size as well. So we needed to most probably recognise earlier that we weren't free. So our intent was good. We needed to do a few more workloads. The repercussive movement needed to be there. Punch in the middle is also really important to access against that big defensive unit and move in that shape. And I actually think that got better. So in patches, great, good challenge for us to find a way back into the game. And then a few things unfolding, like I say, unforced errors. Feeling a little bit hamstrung with Jiva being on a caution and a warning deep into that last quarter. So we're running a risk there that we're going to go down to 6. So kind of our hand is forced to kind of think about some other changes.
That was an enforced change, if you like. There are a number of other changes during the match. At what stage do you go, right, they've got to just try and play through it rather than making the switch?
Yeah, look, I think we have left teams and lineups out there as well, and I think we make a promise to ourselves that we will tactically try and fix it. We're giving players in lineups time, but if we're not seeing effective change quick enough, we also have a responsibility to try and find a way back into the game, and we have to trust people on the bench. I think Helen and Nat, it was messy at the start on our first phase attack. We were reliant way too much to go back with the ball. Bringing Chelsea on, I think her style, the prop in nature, her ball distribution, should have suited the New Zealand style, and I think it did, but too many errors, she'll be disappointed, but she's not the only one. But I think structurally it helped, and I think it got Helen into the game. It also afforded Nat a chance to sit on the sideline and re-enter, having watched that play out a little bit, so I thought that was okay. And I thought moving Imo back to the wing D, we've played her a lot at centre. I think that's a massive plus for us coming out of January. But I thought bringing Jade in and putting Imo back on that wing defence just kind of matched up for speed, got into Gina a little bit more, but it's a tough job there because they're so happy to play on top of ball carriers. And Jade's experience, but even Jade sprayed a few balls, so it wasn't ever one person, but accumulatively it's just way too many.
Those are the coach killers, aren't they? Because what can you do? You set them up and then that happens. Are the players taking that responsibility on themselves?
Yeah, look, I can't fault the group over this last month. In so many ways we made so much progress away from the court, the accountability on all of us, the clarity of game plan, the way in which they're invested in it, they're students of each of those game plans as well, we're checking and challenging it, and I think that's why games like this have been really difficult, because it's not about trying to soften the edges, it's not about being accepting of having leads and losing them, or making unforced errors and just walking away saying, well, next time we won't. We're not accepting of that, far from it. We go back to the drawing board, but we also need to be robust enough to say, tactically, when we're executing this works well, why can't we do it for longer? What's interfering with that? And I think we're asking some of those hard questions. So, as I say, if I take an example, we haven't started games particularly well. It's not been a characteristic. We've done that here. I think in all 3 games, actually, we've started pretty well against some of the world's best teams. So there is a lot to draw out of the games, but there is absolutely going to be a bittersweet taste when you also want to get some wins under your belt. But, throughout January, we needed to find out some information. We've certainly done that.